Well, hi guys, this is Darren with My RV Works. Today we're out here in the snow, yay, and that's enough of that. And it's cold, but that doesn't matter. So what we're doing today is we're going to be taking out this Atwood 6-gallon water heater, and we're going to be replacing it with the new Dometic 6-gallon water heater. I've already started, and I'm thinking to myself, well, let me go ahead and get you guys involved in this as well, and you can be cold. You watch this where it's warm, and I'll be the one that gets cold. So I'm going to be doing this all freehand, so sorry if the camera's a little shaky. I don't have a tripod or anything with me, but let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to bring it a little bit closer and show you what we've done so far. Okay, so this water heater is leaking on the inside. The tank is an aluminum tank. It has been repaired previously, and it's on the bottom. We can't see it, but it's obviously leaking from the tank itself. So that would be an indication we have to replace this tank. I've already started doing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the LP. I've got the LP turned off. I've capped it. And the reason I do that is not because I'm concerned that LP is coming out, because I've got the service valve turned off. But my concern is some debris or something getting inside. So I just put this on. It's just finger tight, no big deal. I've also drained the water heater. Okay, there's no water in it. It was already empty from the leak. And then I've also gone ahead and taken all my screws out all the way around. Okay, so at this point, what I would then do, let me just show you the tools I'll be using here. I'm gonna get a plastic putty knife, and I'll just kind of work it around all the way around to break that butyl tape bond and get this thing separated. Now on the inside of this, there's still going to be the electrical connections and the water connections. So before I start breaking this loose, let's go on the inside and show you what connections we need to break on that. Just for funsies, here's your part number. It is a Atwood GC6AA-10E. That tells us it's an Atwood water heater, and it's 6 gallons, and it runs on LP. So the replacement for that, let me see if I can get you over here, is going to be, let me get you in there for that part number. So there's your part number for the 1-to-1 change. Okay. If you're going to do that, you also need to get a new door. Let's see. I don't have a part number for you on that. It's probably underneath that cardboard box in the snow. Okay, on this new water heater, you'll see that the cold and the hot, notice that they are male threads and that they're coming out kind of horizontally to each other. Now notice what they're going to be like on the inside, and that's something you need to be watching out for. So on the back side, remember how the other water heater had fittings left and right? These fittings are top and bottom. So when we do this change, we are going to need to change some of these plumbing fittings so that they attach to the water heater correctly. Another thing to note is that is going to be a female fitting going into the tank, whereas on the other tank it was a male fitting coming out. So we need to be advised that our plumbing fittings are going to be, they're going to change gender, these being female and the other Dometic being male. Also, they're going to be coming in sideways here. So we're going to be taking apart the two fittings. We've already drained the water heater, and there is this umbilical here. We're just going to basically take that apart. The connections are on the outside, but we'll loosen everything to get, when we pull the water heater out is when we'll gain access to that. And then this black one here is the LP line. So we have to pull that LP line loose, loosen our electric, disconnect our plumbing lines, and then wiggle, 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 and then break that butyl tape bond on the front, and then we'll pull this whole unit out. Also on the bottom here, we have our Romex for 120 volts, so we need to kill the circuit breaker and disable that as well. So like I said, I'm doing all this freehand, so let me get all that done, and then before I pull it out, I'll bring you guys back and show you where we're at with it, okay? When I pulled this loom off of, for the this wire, so here's where the OEM spliced into the wiring. Now a lot of times what I'll do, these wires here that go to the water heater, orange, white, green, and blue, I will cut these on this side where my fingers are. And a lot of times, like you'll see here, they've got, where's that, orange goes to orange, black goes to white, white goes to green, and red goes to blue. So I don't want to figure out what the OEM has done to their wire codes, but I do know that this side over here is standard. So I'm going to cut on this side, and then when I make my new connection, I know that the wiring coming from the water heater is going to follow this color code. So I just then map these to this, and I'll do one at a time like spark plugs, right? I don't want to have to refigure out the firing order of the engine. I'll just do one spark plug at a time. So the new wires coming from my new water heater, I'll just match the orange on the new water heater to this existing orange that went to the old water heater. So file that away. Also, I wanted to mention, this is your typical bypass for your water heater. So that one's open, and that one's closed. And so what that means is, as water is approaching this water heater, it can only go into the water heater on the bottom and then out on the top. If you're going to service your water heater or winterize your RV, that's when you would close that one, and open that one. And there, as water is approaching the water heater, it can't go into the water heater more, and it bypasses right here. Okay, so that is how the bypass works. Pretty simple. All right, let me get busy. This is our customer today. Cute little kitty cat. All right, so she's gonna be supervising me. It reminds me of that movie Cats and Dogs with Mr. Tinkle, right? So cute, such a lover. Her best friend's a bunny rabbit. All right, we're getting busy, and she's gonna make sure that we stay honest and stay accurate. Okay, we have to turn off 120 to disable the heating element. And so I'm gonna use a voltage pin. That little beeping there is the heartbeat. And when I touch voltage, let me get it in there. There we go. There. So it's staying on and it's beeping. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go turn the breaker on and off until that thing shuts up. And the reason I'm doing this is because the breaker panel is not labeled. So I'm going to go hit the breakers. Okay, so here we go. So it's probably going to be one of these 15s. So I'm just going to start turning them off until I hear the beep stop. And there we go. We got it. Hey, go play the lottery today. It's the first one. So we don't have a cover on this thing. So we didn't know that that was water heater, but usually water heaters are 15 because the element consumes 10. So let's go verify that our power's turned off at the back now. Okay, we can confirm that we've tapped into our wires coming from the Romex, coming from that breaker panel, and our voltage is effectively 0. It's 1.3 volts AC, so I'm good. So we've confirmed that we've disabled the AC power, so we're going to break that circuit now and pull that blue Smurf tube out of our junction box. Okay, we've got the back side of the water heater totally disconnected from the hot, the cold. We've got our wires cut, and like I was saying here, you can kind of figure out that I've left the color coding of the water heater on the other side of this connector. You understand what I'm saying here. We've got our electric disconnected for the heating element, water disconnected, and even our LP line, I've got that pulled through. So this water heater is ready to come out. Let's go on the outside now. Okay, so I've taken my chisel and I've broken that butyl seal. This water heater is now ready to be removed. We've disconnected everything from the outside. Here's our wires that we've disconnected. And I'm doing this with one hand, bear with me. And this whole thing, there we go, let me zoom out, just came right out. Okay, so there's the old water heater, and you saw the steps to take it apart. Now we will install this new water heater. Okay, so we've got the old water heater out. You'll see that we've cleaned up around that opening, and you'll see some of that styrofoam stuff right there on that plug. So that's one of the reasons I just kind of capped that off, because otherwise that very well could have gotten inside of our LP line and fouled out our new gas line. We are going to need to change out those where the hot and the cold enter the water heater, because like we said, they're coming in at a different orientation here and also different genders. So we'll I'll do a dry fit, figure out what I need, make my connections from the outside where I can get into it easily, and then we'll slide the water heater in. And so this is a great product here for cleaning the adhesive stuff off. And hey, another trick, you'll notice I'm doing this one-handed, but you use your little MaxFX glove. Here, let me do this, hold on. There we go. For those of you guys working out in the cold or the wet or the rain, this is a little best practice I've discovered. So you just take your standard MaxFlex gloves. I use these as my everyday kind of glove to work with. But when it's cold or wet or rainy, just slip one of these extra large ones. So I've got a large hand, so that's a large glove, and I just slip one of these extra large GloveWorks rubbers over it. So it keeps my hands warm and dry, and I'm able to work on little, small, teeny tiny screws. And so this hand is very warm and comfortable, and this hand that's doing the camera is kind of cold. So it can't wait to get back in there. So there's a little tip if you're working in the cold and wet. So at this point, like I said, we're going to do a dress rehearsal, slide that in, configure our plumbing lines in the back. It's easier to get to them from this side than from the inside, and we'll get that done, and we'll bring you along as we go. Here we are on the back side, and what I'm going to need to do, this red hot line is going to be relatively easy. We need a 90, and then we need a female elbow to connect to this male fitting on the back of this water heater. So we're going to go with a female 90 and then a 90, and we'll tie right into this one. This other one, he's going to have a little bit more of a circuitous route. We're going to do a 90 up, another 90 into a female elbow. So we'll use 1, 2, 3 fittings on this one, and then 1, 2 fittings on this guy. Okay, and that'll be our water line. And by doing it that way, we maintain all of our bypass valves in place where they are. Okay, and then I got to figure out where that goes. I don't see, their electric is on the front on this, and we got to find a wiring, how the wiring's going to connect. I haven't even looked at that yet. But that's what we're going to do on the backside. And then the gas line, if we've done these before, you do need to kind of crook it down, put a little bit more of an angle on the gas line. And when we get to that, we'll show you that as well. Okay, we got all the wiring. So if you remember the orange, the white, the blue, and the green, here they are, standard to the water heaters. So we're going to connect these to the OEM wiring on the other side. And like I said, one wire at a time so we don't lose the color codings, because the OEM color codings are nowhere near what these are, okay? And then for the AC side, there's a plug connecting. And one thing, a shout out to Dometic. Thank you for putting the heating element on the front side. On the old Atwoods, they were on the back, and it was a bear to get to them. So everything is on the front on this, kind of like the Suburbans. So thank you, Dometic, for doing that. So here we have all of our connections here. We're going to stow those in back. We already know the kind of fittings we need to do for the water heater. Here is our connection for AC, and then here is our gas line. And this is what I was saying, it's a little bit of a different angle, and so we are going to need to bend, you see it back there, that LP line just a little bit more of a dog leg to gain right into this angle here. And then we'll take this grommet off that's in the back, slide that over the LP line, and we'll have to seal this because we don't want, this is the combustible side, and we never want anything combustible to gain access inside the living area. So we need to make sure that that grommet is nice and sealed, and there's no other way for the combustion to get inside. Now, important note, when you buy your door, you have to buy a door with these new water heaters. Your old door will not work. And let me reach here. The new doors are going to come with these little I don't know, flange or whatever, and what this is going to do is it's going to cover up the sides here. Okay, so even though our water heater is smaller than the hole, they give you these come with the door kit. Okay, so they give you these to make up that difference, and they're either black or white, I believe. Okay, so let me get busy making some of these connections. We'll bring you in when we get all that done. Okay, here we go. On the water heater, where the old water heater came out, we remember this Romex was connected into a junction box on the back side. On our new water heater, they give us a plug. So there's several different ways you could do that. The code would state that the AC connection must be inside of an enclosure. DC, you can just connect it and throw it on the wall, but on an AC, it must be in an enclosure with a cover. So you have several options. You can put like a handy box and a cover. So what I've opted to do is I've got these self-contained receptacles, okay? And so I'm just gonna mount a self-contained receptacle and just kind of stick it on the wall right there and plug the water heater into that. Now they do have a tool that you can use to just kind of put this in the tool and squeeze, and it compresses all the wires in. There's another trick that the tool is like $300. I'm not gonna buy it. So the other trick is to take a screwdriver and kind of place this in and just kind of gently tap the wires into these little fangs, if you will. Now you'll note, let's see if I can get the glare just right, there is a white, a ground, and a black. So they do go in a certain way. Okay, so when you put these together, make sure that you're following that legend up on the top there. Also on your cover, it's also going to show, let's see, it's gonna be on this side. If we look right, if I get the glare just right, on these corners here, it's gonna say white and black. So it does matter, and it's also keyed. you'll see that little slot at the bottom, and this one doesn't have it. So basically, I am going to tap this in with a screwdriver, mount it on the wall over there, and then we'll be able to plug our water heater directly in and give it power and still be safe. Okay, here you can see how I've used that screwdriver to tap the wires down inside of those little fangs, and it works well. You don't have to hit too hard, you just tap it and it just seats itself right in there. And then the cover, let's see here, let's look at that. That's gonna say black, so it looks like it's gonna go this way, and that snaps closed, and then we have a safe electrical termination here, and I'll just screw this to a wall. Okay, at this point we've done all of our prep work we can do from the outside. We've got our receptacle there for our 120 volt. Our 12 volt control wires is back there. We'll put the ends on it and connect it. We've determined what fittings we need for our plumbing lines to change. On the water heater on the back, I've already prepped the lines kind of oriented how they're gonna go. We've put that little dog leg in our LP line here, and so now we are ready to install the water heater from the outside and put those two, let me pan over here, put those two flashings on the side that'll hold the water heater in place. And once we get that done, we'll go to the inside. Now, one thing I'm gonna do is along this edge right here, I'll put some butyl tape all the way around, and then we'll put our screws through. And that butyl tape, I've got it in the truck on the heated seat to kind of keep it warm, and it'll kind of squeeze in here and act as a watertight seal. And then at the end, I'll put a bead of sealant around the whole thing to keep the water from getting inside. Okay, we've got the outside all buttoned up. The stuff you see oozing out here is the butyl tape, and the riding in on the heated seat covered in a jacket was nice. It kept it kind of gooey while we put it in there, so it's oozed out. So I'm gonna let these screws kind of ooze that out a little bit more, and then I'll take this tool. Hold on, I know the camera's shaking, sorry. I'll take this tool here, and I'll just basically run along the top and the sides, and it'll make a nice cut around them all. But for right now, I'm just gonna let the screws squeeze it in while I work on the inside. Okay, so here's what the backside turned out to look like. Our fresh water is coming in and doubling back on itself, and then the hot water comes out of it right there. Kind of had to put them at that weird angle. All of our control wiring is in this bundle here, and then back in there is where our receptacle is. Our gas line is over on this side, and so that's what the backside looks like. The tank at this point is full of water, and we do not have any leaks on any of our plumbing. I also added, I don't know if you can see it, it's a block of wood right down there. This new water heater does come back a little bit more, so I put a block of wood to help support it onto the back. You might be able to see it there, but anyway, it's there. And so let's go to the front side and see what that looks like. Okay, folks, thanks for following with me on the journey. We've got the water heater installed. You saw the backside, how it was all connected, and all the electrical connections we did to make it right. And we've got it filled with water now. The gas line's reconnected. It's actually heating right now on electric. And so then the cover gets closed. We're reaching like that. And well, there you go. So hopefully this helps you guys. If it did, give us a thumb up. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to our channel. And happy camper, say my RV works. So this is, do you want to say happy camper, say my RV works, Miss Customer? You could just, no? Yeah. Say happy camper. You want to be in the shot? Okay, here we go. So here's our customer. So happy camper, say my RV works. And
my RV works.
Yay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we're signing off for now. Make sure you like, subscribe, and watch more videos. All right. Bye.